Okay, recording in progress.
All
All
righty.
right, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Duck Potatoes World. I am your host, Mrs. Duck Potato, and I have a special bonusode episode. We're calling it Riding on the Crazy Train. And I have got Kathleen Fuller, best-selling author and very dear friend of mine, here to hang out with us for a little while today. I am going to attempt to crochet while we visit. And it's really good that I have her handy because she is who I call, or one of the people I call, when I get myself in a pickle, which I do frequently.
Yeah, well, you haven't called me in a while about that, so I think you're killing it. I
No, I
mean,
think
I
poor
don't.
Tracy got the brunt of it last time I had a panic attack.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, between the two of us, you're doing a really good job, though. You're just, I mean,
Aw, thank you.
you've conquered crochet, you've conquered knitting, you're conquering parenting. How's that going?
Yeah, I don't think that
Four
ever,
boys?
I don't think anyone ever conquers that. I think it's just,
No.
that's just crazy train the whole
Yeah.
forever. One long crazy train.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
So,
wait. Well, one of the things I definitely want to make sure we talk about is your newest book, So Into You,
okay.
which I haven't finished yet. I'm trying so hard, but people around here, they keep wanting to like eat dinner and stuff. And I
I know,
just,
how dare
I was sitting
they?
there reading it on Thanksgiving and my husband's like cooking everything. Sorry,
Oh,
my light got really weird all of a sudden. Not sure why that.
James is awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's the
Yes,
best.
my husband's name's James too, so we've got some couple awesome
Let me see if I
Jameses.
can get it to.
Mm,
Nope, that's
I
made
think,
things worse, not better.
yeah, I think it's because of the color, the yellow mustard color might be messing with your lights.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't
I
know.
don't
I had
know.
my light looked really good and then I moved my chair.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, I'm not. There we go. No,
Yeah, okay,
maybe.
we got it. I have mine too,
I'll put a
so let's
picture.
see.
I'm going to edit this. This is not live. There, hers looks good.
Okay, so into you.
Anyway, I haven't finished it yet. But okay, spoiler alert. I'm going to try not to spoil the story because I have bought, I don't know now, I've lost count, 4 or 5 of them to give out as Christmas gifts to people that I know are going to love them. So I'm going to try to talk about the book without actually talking about the book. And we'll see how that goes.
Okay,
But
good
yeah, I
luck.
would love to know how you get your ideas. Like, how do you come
Well,
up with a storyline?
that's a good
Or
question.
do you start with
And
a problem or do you start with a happy ending?
um, well, it's always going to be a happy ending. That's kind of my trademark. It's always going to have a happy ending. Um, so it just depends. I've had I get different ideas, I think, from just being observational and being open to ideas. But they come from different places. Like my very first Amish book that I wrote, which is called, oh my gosh, A Man of His Word. I can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, I just asked myself, what if? What if is the important question. A, a, a two twin brothers were in love with the same woman. And from there the story grew. And sometimes it's that general kind of question. But for So Into You, that was inspired. A friend of mine had told me about one of his wife's, either a cousin or a niece or something, that she had a YouTube channel and she was just the really talented artist. And she was also a late bloomer, like Britt is. And she had been talking about her first boyfriend. And I was just like, wow, that would be really a cool jumping off place. Now, I'm not saying this girl has social anxiety, because it was like, well, what if the character I create has social anxiety? Because I do think social anxiety um, is is a real issue, especially since even though we're more connected through technology, we're being less connected in our face-to-face interactions.
Oh, yeah, for
So,
sure.
so I really want to, I mean, for you and I, we're both extroverts. It's not an issue. If we don't get our time, we don't get our time, but we can, but for, people who are more introverted, I'm married to an introverted guy, and it can be a problem, getting too disconnected.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think
that's why I
even for
want.
extroverts, I have a son who's
Mhm.
very extroverted, but he's my most anxious child,
Oh,
actually.
really? Okay.
It's like he wants to be social and he wants to be around lots of people,
Hmm.
but he's anxious that they're not going to like him or accept him or what have you.
Hmm.
And I think he's the one that deals with that the most. But yes, definitely. I wasn't sure how this was going to go down because anxiety is not, it's not a thing I struggle with. Very
Mhm.
little makes me nervous. And even
Yeah,
when I am nervous, it's not usually crippling or going to prevent me from doing anything I
right.
want to do. But I actually really like Britt in the book. And I
Well,
feel like
good.
even though I don't necessarily know how she feels all the time, I feel like she explains her own feelings. Like it comes across well in the writing. Like I get it.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm really, really enjoying this one.
Mhm. As you can see, I'm working on a crochet project too.
Yeah, me
So
too. We'll talk about
it's
that in a minute.
yeah.
So this
So
one you got the
well,
idea from somebody hearing about somebody that you thought that
mhm.
is an interesting person. That might be an
Yeah.
interesting situation. And that's where you started.
Mhm. Yeah. So and so it's kind of something that might catch my eye and I might go, what if? That's the main question. What if this happened? And as I create a story, it's always, well, what if they make this decision? Or what if this happens to them? And then from there the story builds on itself. But it always comes from that what if question. And I've gotten ideas off the internet. I've gotten ideas out of the newspaper back when, we actually read those things. I've gotten ideas from just talking to people.
Do they still print them?
Um,
Our local paper went out of business.
oh, did it? Well, so here's the
Not
interesting
that
thing
long
about that.
ago.
Yeah. So right now I'm working on a book. I'm actually in the editing process of it called Behind Enemy Bylines. And it is about the newspaper business, a small town newspaper. And it was inspired by a couple at my church who met during the newspaper wars. So
You'll
even
have
though
to tell
this
me
is
what a
not,
newspaper war is. I'm so
well,
sorry.
so here in Arkansas, we had in Little Rock, we had two major papers for years, decades, the Arkansas Democrat and the Arkansas Gazette. So back in, I think it was in
Is
the
that because there's not
90s.
any Republicans in Arkansas?
No, it's interesting. It's interesting. The Democrat was actually the more conservative newspaper than the Gazette, which I
Which
know is like,
reinforces my notion that there are no Republicans in Arkansas.
oh, but we do have a lot of Republicans here.
Sorry, we're
Anyway,
not going to
so
talk
that's
about
okay.
politics, I
We are
promise.
not going to talk about politics. So anyway, they merged because and I don't exactly I was living here at the time, but it was like when I was in college and stuff. So I don't know the backstory exactly how that happened or why, but it's not germane to my story. But so my friends from church, they worked for those separate newspapers, and then when they combined they met because they were working in the same office, and it was just that germ
Oh,
of an idea
behind
that
enemy
spawned
Vila.
this, right? Because it's not their story. um I might be inspired by something, but I definitely don't want to write like, true fiction kind of things. Because first of all, I don't want to be beholden to getting it wrong. um Writing Amish fiction was kind of scary for me at the beginning because I was trying to be very mindful of what I was writing was true to the Amish that I knew and the research I had done. So writing about real people was kind of daunting, but they're a lovely couple. They're good friends, and so it's worked out really well. But yeah, since we were talking about newspapers, I learned a lot about newspapers. That's very interesting. And I'll say this about newspapers. I don't want to get too off topic here, but it goes back to the connectivity and the community. Is that so when the bigger companies and the conglomerates were going around, like you said, your newspaper went out of business. They did a lot of acquisitions and mergers, and they did that because community newspapers were struggling. But the problem with doing that is that once you have a company that's not focused in that community comes in, takes over that paper or absorbs it up, then you're losing a lot of the community input. And that isn't just, oh, I don't care about the community newspaper anymore. It's like you start losing interest in government, you start losing interest in social activities.
Interesting.
Um, it, it was very interesting. So I think some of this disconnect that we're having in our society is that, of course, it's a very small piece of it, is that we have gone too big. We've lost that small town feeling, and you can have a small town feeling in a large town. I mean, it doesn't have to be a teeny tiny town. Um, so yeah, I kind of community is a big theme for me because the Amish are really big in communities. Those of y'all who don't know, I also, sorry, also write Amish fiction. So,
Which is also good. I just
thank
read
you.
An Honest Love. I just read the first
Hmm.
three Middlefield books, I don't know, a few
Hmm.
months ago. And
Hmm.
I read The Secret, A Summer Secret,
Oh, that's the middle grade.
the middle grade
Yeah.
one, because it's kind of, it
Hmm.
goes on, like I'm trying to read them more or less in the order you wrote them. And so
Hmm.
I haven't started the second middle school one yet. It's my next one when I finish So Into You
Hmm.
and a couple other things I'm reading because I have, ADD. So I'm reading like four, well, I'm reading for me 4 books at any given time, and then not counting the books we're reading in our homeschool.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. You're just amazing. And I'm not just saying that to butter your biscuit. You really are. Very, very,
Flattery will
for
get you
somebody with
everywhere.
AD, well, for somebody with ADD, you sure do accomplish a lot. And I'm not saying ADD people don't accomplish a lot, but well, that probably came out wrong. My apologies to anybody who's ADD, but you know what I mean? It seems to me it would be a lot more challenging if you had it to get a lot of stuff done. Can you just get me out of this hole, Katie? I mean, I'm gonna
There
keep
are all
digging it
kinds of
deeper.
people who have all kinds of ADD and ADHD related
Mhm.
issues. And it's just like everything else. There's a variety of behaviors that go along with that sort of thing and a
Mhm.
variety of coping mechanisms. So in my case, as a young child, I learned to engage my brain in multiple things at once. So I always it was in
Ah,
trouble with because I would be reading a book under the desk while the teacher was teaching math. But if she called
right.
on me, I could answer the question. But if I
Mhm.
just had to listen to her teach math, I understood the math the first time she said it. I didn't need examples 3 ways, and I didn't need to hear 47 other kids ask a question. So if I had to just focus on that, I would get bored and start looking for something else to think about. And if I'm doing that, then I can't pay attention to her. So I would start reading
Mhm.
a book under my desk. I'm paying attention to her math lesson with this part of my brain. I'm reading this book with this part of the brain, and I'm focused on 2 things instead of everything in the room. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes
And I
perfect
started
sense.
doing it very, very young. I mean, I was probably in trouble in second grade for reading books when the teacher was teaching,
Yeah,
or talking when the teacher was
right.
teaching. And I didn't know it was, ADD looks different in girls than it does with boys. So I didn't even get
Well,
diagnosed
yeah,
till I was an adult.
it does. And
But it's just,
everybody
and I
watching
learned to
this,
cope by
yeah.
being very organized. I make a lot of lists. Like, here's my
Mm-hmm.
list of things to do today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Oh,
know
well, I
how to.
can't see it,
No,
but
it's a
I
list. I
believe it's
promise.
there. So,
There,
well,
now you can see it.
it's
I make lists everywhere. In fact, one of my birthday gifts the last couple of days from a friend
mm-hmm.
who knows me very well is this little thing. It goes on your post-it note. Here's a better one. It goes on your post-it note so you can make lines and check boxes for your lists.
Ooh, I would like that. I would
So
like
I
that.
color coordinate things so that
Uh-huh.
it's just the weird coping mechanisms I just developed as I grew.
Well,
And
I don't think they're weird because so you all might be surprised considering how I was talking just a minute ago that I'm a retired special education teacher. So I do know some about ADD and
yeah.
but that is the thing, finding coping mechanisms that work for you. And I'm glad that you're able to do that because it's and I also understand the whole having to keep your hands busy and, multitasking
Mhm.
stuff like that. Because when I'm in church, I actually have a color Bible, and my pastor is very accommodating because I color in church and I have little markers, but I can tell you everything he said. But if I had to sit there, my mind would wander too.
Yeah. I love my pastor. So I don't think he
Hmm.
watches my channel. So I don't think this will ever
Hmm.
get back to him. I love him
Hmm.
dearly. Um, and I cannot knit because it bugs him.
Yeah.
I knit
His,
during business meetings and it bugs him then
yeah.
too, but I just tell him you're not preaching.
I would love to. Chris isn't going to see this either, my pastor. I would love to crochet
Yeah.
during this. That would actually be my preference. But I don't think Chris would mind because his wife is a fantastic crocheter and knitter. She makes beautiful things. But I think other people would be distracted because they would get
Yes.
caught up in it. So I don't want to do that. So, but they don't seem to care that there's a, 50-something-year-old woman who brings her coloring Bible to church every Sunday and colors.
Yes, I feel the same.
Mhm.
I don't knit or crochet in church for a couple of reasons. The number one reason is that it would bother somebody. And I don't want to be the reason that somebody else is not paying attention if I can
Right.
help it. But
Hmm.
the second reason is because our church is extremely crowded and I sing in the choir and I sit in the choir loft. So if you think
Mm.
it would distract somebody if I was just sitting in the congregation, I'm sure the church would get 7 emails going, do you know that Katie Brohard is sitting in the choir loft behind the preacher knitting all through? I don't think it would go well. All right, y'all.
No.
I'm gonna have to have a moment because my counter is not working and I don't know why.
Oh, well, while you're doing that, I can pop in and
Oh,
let y'all
now it's
know
working. There we
that
go.
So Into You it releases on Tuesday, so that's gonna be December 3rd. I don't know when Katie's gonna upload this or anything like that, but you can find it at Barnes and Noble, anywhere you find books. But the best way to find it is actually on my website at www.kathleenfuller.com.
I'll
You can
put that
click
up here.
on the, okay, great, thank you. You can click on the books tab, and it actually will have this. It'll have ordering information, reviews, and everything on there. And you'll also be able to see all my other books and information to order those, because 'tis the season. I'm going to do a plug to buy books for Christmas for all of your book loving buddies.
I told you I
So,
already did. I don't know. I ordered several and then I filmed the December episode for the channel and realized while I was talking, I left someone out and had to like finish filming and go order one more. I think I've ordered three now, three or four. I can't remember.
wow.
But yeah,
That's,
books make
we
great
will,
gifts.
yes. And thank you very much for doing that.
Of course.
So, did you get your count back?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just crochet's hard for me, y'all. I could sit here and knit and talk with you and probably never have to look down, but I
Wow.
can't do that and crochet. I have to.
Well, I've just about, I'm not going to give up on knitting, but I've got a lot of projects I want to get done, and those are going to be crochet projects. And then when I have some time, I mean, I can do, knit, and I can do a garter stitch, purling. I mean, the actual knitting part is fine. It's just when it starts getting into counts and because I have dyscalculia, so that is a
So
I
what's
have
that?
trouble. Well, dyscalculia is a math learning disability, so I have trouble with just simple arithmetic, spatial things,
Huh.
directions.
But
Um,
you write
yeah,
crochet patterns.
yeah, but I guess who's had to help me with that, Katie? Katie, she helped me with my very first one. Picking up
By
crochet as an
help, she
adult,
means she handed it to someone who could barely hold a hook, who went, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. I don't
and she was
understand.
great. That's exactly how it should work, because if you don't, if you can understand it, then it needs to be written a lot more clear. So anyway, get back to dyscalculia. I really
Sorry.
wish I would have pursued crochet when I was a teenager and a young adult. It probably would have been hard when I was raising my kids, because it has definitely helped me with my dyscalculia, the counting, having to pay attention to that and everything. But with knitting, since crochet, you can fudge, which is what I like about it. If you drop a stitch, you can pick it up in the next row, or you can hide a stitch. You cannot do that with knitting, and I have to really concentrate. And so, since I've got so many other things that I've been doing and need to work on, I really just need some dedicated time. So 2025 may be the year of knitting for Kathy Fuller. I don't know.
Well, don't
We
give
shall
it up.
see.
But it
I'm
took
not
me
giving it up altogether,
years.
because I do enjoy it. I do like the motion of knitting. I really like the drape of knitted fabric. And
Yeah, I
I
probably should have gone with a much bigger hook. This blanket is going to be like a weighted blanket. It's going to be thick.
oh, is it oh, what stitch are you doing?
This is the August blanket of knowledge.
Oh, okay. I haven't opened
I think it's called, I don't know what is up with my camera, y'all. Smocking stitch or something like that.
it. Okay.
It's just it's lovely, but there's no drape. That's not drapey at all. It's
Oh,
very solid.
what hook
But
are you
it is.
using?
I don't know, whatever one came in the box.
Oh, okay.
No, let's see. It's a uh an I don't think that's an L. 9
Oh
5.5
yeah, that's
millimeter.
a 5.5. That's
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's an eye.
That's what I'm using.
Huh.
It'll be fine. I was a really tight knitter when I first started knitting too, so it's
Mm-hmm.
probably just par for the course.
I'm a very loose crocheter, so I usually have to go down at least one or two hook sizes, depending on what the gauge is. Gauge, Katie's favorite thing.
Tiny little
Katie's
liars
favorite
that
thing is
lie.
gauge. Yep.
Yep.
So, did you want to talk more about the book or?
Let me think if I had any other questions. I wanted to know how you got started with an idea, where you got your ideas from.
Mhm.
You've kind of stepped out of the Amish writing, so you're going to be doing more of the contemporary kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And so you've got another one in the works that's called
Hmm.
Between the Bylines, right?
Behind enemy
Behind
bylines.
enemy
Hmm.
bylines. All right.
Yeah.
Behind enemy bylines.
Yeah.
And I've read all of your Maple Falls books, which I love.
Thank you.
And yeah, I can't think of another question right now. So if I think of
Okay.
something, I'll squirrel and we'll come back to the book later. But I definitely
Okay.
think you should read this book. I am enjoying it, even though I haven't finished it yet. I'm glad you said that all of your books have happy endings. I can
Hmm.
read, I mean, I read all kinds of things. I read for school, I read textbooks, I like to read biographies. Everything doesn't have to have a happy ending for me, but this kind of thing, the stuff that I
Hmm.
just read for pure enjoyment, I like them to have a happy ending. And someone was saying it's an American thing, and they didn't understand why American movies will change the ending so it's a happy ending in America, even if it's not in other countries. And I'm like, that's
Hmm.
because Americans have had their fair share of reality. And who wants to read the bad stuff or watch the sad stuff for fun? If I
Right.
want to see
Right.
something sad, I can go walk outside and look at something in my neighborhood that will make me sad. Like,
Hmm.
I don't need
I
my
agree.
fiction to do that for me.
Yeah, because it's an escape.
Right.
Fiction is an escape. You're going into a different world, and um, I've never been one to like to cry. I don't like sad stories. I very much like staying in my own little, sparkles and happy world and things like that. So,
That's
yeah,
interesting because some of
I
your Amish stories can have some sad aspects.
well, yeah, they do because I like to explore
I don't know that I've ever cried over
deeper.
any of them, but they can have some real people going through real issues.
Well, right. Um, that's true. So I guess hmm, they do go through real issues, but what I like to do is I've never been actually presented with this question, so I'm going to give it some thought because
Leave it to
I
me to
think
ask
this is,
something
well,
nobody
no,
else
it's
has
great.
asked.
I love it because usually when I talk about my books, I'm like, oh, they have a happy ending, and I really like living
Well,
in
and they
La La
do. Don't get me
Land, and
wrong. You're not going to
yeah,
pick it up and cry through it or anything. But I mean, they're
right.
real people with real issues.
Well, and that's it. And I love writing about when I got started in Christian fiction, I really wanted to write about people, characters going through hardships and how the Lord, through how he works things with interpersonal relationships and circumstances that we've seen so many different times in the Bibles, examples of that, how he brings us through these things. And it's something that if I read something, I want to be able to relate to it. And so I try to write things that are evergreen, that things like with the social anxiety, that something that people are really going through. And but I also want it to be framed within a romance because I do love romance. I am the most unromantic person on the planet, though, but I can write a romance.
You can
My
write a
husband is a
romance,
more
girl. You can write a
I
romance.
mean, a closed door, sweet, nothing too crazy
Oh, yeah.
romance.
Nothing.
But
I mean, my kids listen to your books with me in the car,
very well, hey, I'm impressed. I'm
all four of
impressed.
my sons.
Yeah.
They may
Sweet
not be
fellas.
willingly doing it, but they do.
Oh, that's cool. So, but yeah, no, I think that's a great topic to bring up is that, it can have a happy ending and a feel good, but for me, it needs to be a reflection of the world, of the real world.
Like an
And
idealized version.
hmm?
It's an I almost it's I said it's an idealized version in that they always
Yeah,
end happily. But like there's real like we said, there's real problems. They have some real issues. But
right.
it's comforting to know at the end it's all gonna work out. It's very
Well, and isn't that with our faith too? I mean,
yeah.
we know We know it's all going to work
Jesus has
out. God
already
is,
won.
that's right. But that doesn't mean that the journey that we're going through in this life is going
Isn't
to be,
hard.
right. And
Amen.
yeah, so yeah, all that stuff. Oh, that was really good.
All
I had to
right.
use my noggin for that, Katie. Thank you.
Well, stretch, stretch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know what you are crocheting because we talked about what I'm working on.
Okay. Well, I am actually I'm not sure. I'm just playing around here. I picked up
You're
some
not
yarn
sure.
just so I'd have something to do. This is a stitch pattern that I came up with though. It's forget, I think this is called the triangle stitch. Here, I don't know if y'all can see this. And then I went ahead and do a row of double crochet, then the triangle stitch, and then you do a double crochet, but you do a front post around that triangle stitch. And what it does is it kind of gives you a cool back. And I apologize if y'all can't see this, but I have been
I
doing
can
some
see
other
it. I just
crochet.
don't know what anything you said means
Okay, I'm
except
sorry.
for the word crochet.
The word crochet. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? You may get this pattern in the future because I do want to
Ooh.
write it up. I'm working. I think this is going to be a cow because this is really nice. It's very cozy material, and I love cows, and I actually like this yarn. So, but I did make a cow that I did have the pattern written for, and this is a very simple one. It's called the Brit cow
I
because it's
know you were
named
calling for
after.
testers for it the other day.
Yes, yes, and I
You
know
saw
you're a
my
busy woman.
response, right?
Huh?
You saw me say me, right?
I don't know. You know what? I have not checked my I haven't really checked any responses because when I did my video challenge, I'm trying to get over my video phobia and Katie's helping me to do this. But when I did my
I can't
challenge,
tell she's
I
nervous at
I
all.
huh?
I said, no one can tell you're nervous at all
Oh,
right
that's
now.
good.
You seem
That's good. I'm
super
getting
cool.
better. So what I did is I set a challenge for the month of November. I was going to post a video every day and I was going to put myself on it. And I was going to try to get used to talking on camera. And I am getting better after a month of doing it. So, but I would decide what I decided not to do was go check comments and the lack of comments and all this kind of stuff. So next week I'm going to go through a whole month of videos, which I didn't know were cutting off until like the day before yesterday, because nobody told me, or maybe they did and I
Hey,
didn't
I
see
sent
it.
you a message like fairly quickly,
No,
maybe a
you
week
did,
in.
but I don't know if all of them have been cutting off like that, or did I miss the initial? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna
Oh,
put them
yeah,
all on
they were all
YouTube.
cutting off like that. I just
Oh,
kept thinking
geez.
there must be
Okay.
a website where I can go see the rest. And, it was one of those things I'd look for later. And finally, I really started
Hmm.
looking and I'm like, I really can't find the rest of this.
Well, that's because I didn't know that was going on. That's my fault. But honestly, those videos, just to be selfish, those were mostly for me and the video phobia stuff. They weren't really planned out. Like every day I would be like, oh, I've got to do a video. But anyway, so what I did is one of the videos I did, I showed this. So I'll get back to my crochet. And it's a nice warm cow for me and Katie living in Arkansas and Texas. But it would work really great if you live somewhere where it
Might
gets
be
really
cold
hot.
someday.
Yeah, well, it's kind of chilly here. It's like in the 40s. I mean, but the nice thing about this is that you can,
Everybody up north is laughing at us calling the 40s chilly.
I think that there's like 4 feet of snow in Ohio.
Oh my
Our friend
goodness.
said, yeah, that's crazy. So this will work really well in Ohio. So anyway, you can pull it up like this, but if you don't like it like that, then you can fold it in half and it becomes a little more manageable. So that's the brick
Oh.
cow. And so until you set into
Is it
Texas, so
anxiety? You can cover your face if you get nervous.
oh no, if you get nervous, you could just
You
go.
just go whoop.
Nobody would know if you were nervous if you
Or
just
if I
sat there
have a
and
big
looked.
zit right here or right
That's
here, I get them down
true.
here.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of uses for this. And then oh,
Oh, that's cute.
you could even do that. Actually, that feels pretty good. I might keep it.
It's cute. I like it.
I am totally over the video phobia because like I would have never. But anyway, so you could it's kind of cute. I don't know what it looks like in the back, nor do I care.
I,
So, and then I was going to show the little amigurumis I did for my great niece who
oh,
is not going to
how
see this.
cute.
A little baby, little ladybug, and she's got pins in her because these antenna don't want to stay in place, so had to pin
Oh,
them in place. And then she's got a little friend who's a caterpillar.
caterpillar.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I've been
Cute.
working on. And what are you working on?
Ah, I already talked about it. I'm working on the blanket of knowledge,
Oh, that's right.
the
Yes.
crochet blanket of knowledge.
Yeah.
But I can tell you about what I'm wearing. This is one of the
Yes.
very first. Woo, my light got all blown out real quick. One of my very first projects, actually, I knit this way back in 2018. The pattern is
Wow.
Frozen Skies by
Uh-huh.
Ala Sanko. Take it off. If I take it off, I might not be able to get it back on again. I bought this shirt the other day and got so excited because I've had this shawl since 2018 and I have had nothing to wear. Nothing
Oh,
matches it.
really? Do you
Nothing I
not,
own matched it.
you don't wear black?
It's brown.
Oh, it's brown. Okay.
You need,
Oh, it's
come on,
beautiful.
focus. It won't focus. It focused for like a hot minute. There we go. Well, I guess,
There we go.
okay.
Oh,
Apparently, I just have to keep it.
freeze.
Woo! No, I just have to stay in that one little spot.
There you go. Oh, don't breathe. That is really, I
Clearly,
love
I have
that
a lot to learn
yarn.
about using my computer's
Yeah, I don't know
camera.
either. I don't know
I've
either.
never filmed anything this way before. This is
Oh,
new.
okay. Because you usually, do you use your phone
I was
or?
using my phone for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
then I received. Look, it's like blurry. You're right. My background is blurry. I don't know how I did that because look, when I like bring it over here, it gets
Mm-hmm.
that's weird. Anyway, we're digressing. I usually film. I was using my cell phone when I first started,
Mm-hmm.
and then I acquired a GoPro. I had a helpful friend give me an older GoPro, and I used that for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. But lately, the GoPro has been acting up, and we actually got new upgraded phones about, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
6 months ago. So I've gone back to using my phone, and I think I am getting a new camera, like an actual YouTuber rated
Ooh,
camera. I think that's what I'm getting for Christmas. So,
nice.
but yeah, this I wanted to tell you about this. This is the Frozen Skies by Ella Senko, and this is a really special shawl for me because I got the yarn. This is the first time I ever will worked for yarn. I helped a
Okay.
friend out at a fiber festival who had yarn.
Mm-hmm.
Her website is called McKnitty, and she paid me in yarn. She paid me these two skeins of yarn, and I came
Mm-hmm.
home and I made this pattern with it. Won a blue ribbon at my little local fair. And my husband made fun of me because he said the colors looked like they came right out of the 70s, but I like it.
Well, just to bring it to sew into you again, we're gonna segue this whole
Ah,
segment.
yes,
Uh,
Brit is
Brit and
so love her, her sense of
yes,
style.
she loves the 70s yacht rock. That's a
I
that's
had
a
to
whole
Google that. I
thing.
had no idea what that was.
Oh, you didn't know what that was?
I did not know what yacht rock was. Girl,
Oh,
I listen to country music and the things we sing in church, and that's
oh,
about it.
gotcha. Okay.
No,
Well,
but
you know
I have
yacht rock.
recognized some of the songs once I looked it up.
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
had never heard that term before.
I don't think it's all that old. I don't think the term, I mean, obviously we didn't call it yacht rock back in the day because I'm quite a bit older than Katie, but back in the day when we were listening to those tunes when they were fresh, we didn't call it yacht rock, but um yeah, I actually love yacht rock. Any of that the 70s type stuff. I used to be more of an 80s girl and then I don't know. I guess because I'm older. But yeah, so I love that. I love the colors. I love the pattern. It
Thanks.
looks amazing. So that's a bat wing shawl, isn't it? My
Um,
daughter crocheted one
yes,
that was
it's
similar to
not
that.
it's an asymmetrical triangular shawl that kind of has a
Mm-hmm.
curve around one edge. Is that
Mm-hmm.
a bat wing?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was gonna see what the yarn was. It was done in Ms. Crosby Satchel. That's the name of the yarn.
Mm-hmm.
The foxglove is the orangey yellow, and Frank is the brown. They came
What's the
from
brown
England.
called?
Frank.
Frank. That's what I thought you said.
Yep.
Interesting.
So yeah, I knit that way back in November of 2018. In fact, it was one
Mm-hmm.
of the first things I did. I didn't even start knitting, I think, till 2017, 2018.
Okay. Well, that's when I picked up crochet again. I learned when I was a kid, but I could only do like the scarves that went like this or went like this. I don't think
Yeah.
I could even do in the round. And then I hurt my back, which is still ongoing saga, me and my surgeries.
When you're
But
back.
Um, well, now I'm gonna get a hip replacement. I think it's all gonna be better once I get that done next month,
Oh my, you're
hopefully.
gonna have a hip replacement too?
I got to have two hip replacements.
I
So it's
think
gonna
we
be,
talked about this actually. I'm suddenly
yeah,
remembering this conversation.
yeah, two back surgeries,
And
and
two
then there'll be
hips.
two hip replacements, and then hopefully I'll be ready for my knees. Anyway, so when I hurt my back,
Maybe not.
maybe not. When I hurt my back, I decided to pick up crocheting because I knew that I would be limited and I just did not want to sit there and stuff my face. So I needed something to do with my hands. And then I saw all these tutorials on YouTube and I was like, where have you guys been all my life? Because that was my biggest problem is while my grandmother and my mother were excellent crocheters, my grandmother was from Romania and came over in like the early 1900s and she couldn't read. She couldn't
Oh,
read. She couldn't read Romanian. She couldn't read English. So she could never read a pattern. She would just look at the picture and make it, which was
wow.
crazy. Oh, yeah, she was super talented. And then my mom was very, very smart and she could read patterns like crazy. She was always the one that like if she had if she got anything that had to be put together, she would read the instruction booklet from front to back. My dad didn't know what an instruction booklet looked like, which is why my mom put together everything and fixed everything in the house. So, but she didn't really have the patience to teach me other than the basics. So when
Yeah.
I started back and I saw, oh, look at all these beautiful things that you can make. Can you guys see my mandala back there that I did? Can't.
Mm-hmm. Is it on
Yeah,
a hula
move
hoop?
this up.
It's a big one.
Yeah, the blue and the yeah. I didn't know you could make stuff like that until I picked it back up. So ever since then, I've been obsessed. I'm known as the crochet queen in my parts, my teeny tiny parts. But it's been great because I've, like with writing, I've made friends through it. Um, I've there's a group that meets here in Cabot that they crochet and knit, and I haven't been able to go to that group because I've had some help problems with my back and my hip, but yeah, it's just been really great. I'm
Oh.
obsessed. I wouldn't say that you're obsessed at all.
Oh no. No, I
Mm,
am not known as the woman that knits everywhere around here.
I wouldn't think so. So why did you get started knitting? What?
Well, my mother learned to knit shortly before I had my first son, and my first son was a preemie. He was just barely what they call a near term infant. So he was born at 33 weeks and 4 days. So
Okay.
anything after 35 weeks is considered near term. Anything before, so
Mm-hmm.
he was literally like right on the edge. But he did
Mm-hmm.
spend the first 10 days of his life in a NICU, in an NICU. And my mother, when my water broke, I called my mom and she dropped everything in Texas and flew to Maryland, which is where I lived at the time, so that
Oh.
she could come and be with me and my husband. I mean, this was our first kid. I was 23 years old. I had joined the
Mm-hmm.
Navy. I was pregnant. Just everything was overwhelming. And
Yeah.
she, nobody or very few people, maybe more now, I don't know. I didn't expect, at least, I should probably just speak for myself. It never occurred to me that I would go into the hospital and have a baby and not come home with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that possibility just never entered my mind. And so fortunately, I was only home without my baby for one night. We lived literally like within 2 miles of the cutoff for being able to stay in the
Mm-hmm.
on hospital housing that they have for parents of patients. So as soon as a room was available, which was just one night, we were able to stay there. But I was
Mm.
just a hot mess. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just a hot mess. And I think I was driving my mom crazy. So she put knitting needles in my hand and said, "Here, let me teach you how to do this. You'll love it. It's fun." So the first thing I made was a washcloth. Actually, I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
I ever made it. I started a yellow washcloth. And my mother stayed with us for 3 months. Took FMLA and stayed with us for a while.
Oh,
And
wow.
at the end of 3 months, I had an incomplete washcloth. She went back to Texas, and I took that washcloth and I put that away and went, "My mom's crazy. Knitting is not fun." And then I didn't knit for years. And so let's see, my oldest son was born in 2007. So in 2018, we were having a big family reunion for Christmas and everybody was making presents for each other. And I was like, well, I made all these aprons. You can see the apron in my Toffee Gone Bad video. I made that apron that year for all the men in our family. And I didn't know what to do, or for the women, but I didn't know what to do for the men. So my mom said, well, just knit them a scarf. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to knit. So she sat me down Like literally, this is like a Sunday afternoon. We had been visiting her for the weekend and we were about to leave. While my husband loaded the car, she handed me some knitting needles and a pattern and said, "This is what it means. This is how you do it. Off you go." I'm like going
Wow.
to get in the car and I'm doing what she showed me. And I went, wait, mom, I'm sitting in the car, right? My husband's
Mhm.
trying to leave. I'm like, wait, what's this P mean? You didn't tell me the show me the K. She's like, oh, that means pearl. Here's how you pearl. She showed me. And
Mhm.
off I went. And I spent the 4 hour drive home knitting the same 2 inches of this scarf pattern because I would make
Mhm.
a mistake and I couldn't fit, but I figured it out. And when I couldn't figure it out, I drove to Longview, which is about a 45-minute drive, and got some help from a yarn shop there. And I made
Mhm.
7 or 8 of those scarves for Christmas presents. And by the time you've knit the same pattern 8 times, you know how to knit.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
come to learn that while knitting is fun, learning to knit is not fun. You have to get past the learning part because I thought, when I finished those scarves, I was never going to knit again. But I
Right.
finished that 8 scarf and I'm like, wonder what else I can make. Like,
And little did you know,
you can make a lot of stuff, y'all.
you can make a lot of stuff and have a good time doing it.
Yeah. And then, I was like, I'm never going to crochet, never going to crochet. And Tracy's like, yeah, sure, sure, Katie.
Yeah.
And here I am with my crochet hook in my hand,
Yes.
doing what I always, God likes to make me do the things I say I'm never going to do. Like, if you had
Well,
ever told
yeah.
me I would homeschool kids, I'd have been like, you're funny. I'm a nurse. I run a nursing clinic. Like, I'm not staying at home with kids. Yeah, here I am,
Mm-hmm.
5th year of
Yep.
homeschooling, loving every minute of it.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Do you miss
never say
nursing?
never. Um, if things were different, I might. But
Yeah.
with the way that things have gone,
Mm-hmm.
I would just be quitting anyway. So
Gotcha. Okay.
not usually. I mean, every now and then, I was an L&D nurse. I mean, actually done almost everything except for the ER. But my favorite thing I did was labor and delivery. And every now and then I'll see
Mm-hmm.
a pregnant woman and I really miss helping
Mm-hmm.
somebody bring their baby into the world.
Yeah.
That's just a special kind of thing that is just its own unique thing. L&D nurses are just a special kind of thing.
Oh, I can
But not
imagine.
not not usually. Not most of the time.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting how God puts us in seasons.
Mm.
Because I thought I never would have thought I'd be a writer. I mean, it wasn't like anything on my radar. I always, like to write as far as like, if I had to do if I had to do multiple choice or a report, I would rather do a report, which of course everybody
Hmm.
thought that was crazy. I
Yeah.
can see that you do too. But because I could do it. I mean, I had like this innate ability to do it. But I never thought I was going to be a teacher, and I ended up, being a special ed teacher, getting my master's, and then I was like, well, I'll be a teacher for the rest of my life. And then it was, well, no, you're going to stay home and you're going to take care of your kids and homeschool your kids. And then it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So it just always is and then I thought I'd just always write Amish and I'd always do this and always do that. And so, yeah, very interesting.
Changes.
Yeah, but then, like my husband, he's been in the same business since he was like 18. Not with the same
Wow.
company, but yeah, but he's been in banking. He's been in IT banking, financial sector since he was, I think it was 18 or 19. So and he's just always that's been his comfort zone. It's what he likes to do, it's what he enjoys, and God's always put him in those positions and he's very good at it.
Yeah. I mean, that's true of my
Mm,
husband. He's been a drafter ever since I met him. He was
mm,
going to school at ITT Tech for drafting when we met. He is a senior drafter at a small architectural firm now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't do the same thing for 5 minutes, much less 20 years.
I
It's a miracle
know.
I managed to keep only one husband.
Shh.
Right. He
Well,
might
so
threaten.
so maybe your James and my James are similar in that is
It sounds
I
like they
mean,
are a little bit.
well, so my James likes things. I like things very different. I was the crazy kid that if we walked into a classroom and the teacher had rearranged the classroom and I was sitting in a new place, I was so excited
Oh, that
because
bothered me like
oh,
crazy.
we were not like there though because it was new. It was a change. It
I
was
would be in
different.
tears.
Well,
I
see,
mean,
I think
literally,
Jimmy's like
they
that
moved the
too.
piano in the little choir room for my 4-year-old choir one day, and I cried about it. They were all like, "What's the
Oh.
matter?" I'm like, "They moved the piano." And they're like,
Oh
"It's the
no.
piano."
Well, so you like things more structured than I do, but my husband doesn't like change at all.
I'm with him.
So he's learning. He's learning though. Being, we've been married for 32 years, so well, 31 and a half years. And so he's kind of given me the structure that I really needed but didn't want. And then I've given him more of the flexibility that he needed but didn't want. So
But
we
didn't
have,
want.
yeah. So it's worked out that way, which has been really good. It hasn't been easy. It's been kind of bumpy, but now that we're kind of too old to fight it anymore. It's like, yeah,
Giving up? Are you just giving
we're
up?
giving up, giving up and giving in. No, it works out really well.
No, I don't know if that's part of the ADD coping mechanism, but I some kinds of change, like if I initiate change, which obviously I do, I just said I can't stick with
Mm-hmm.
anything for very long. That doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But unexpected changes I don't handle well. Like
Mm-hmm.
we remodeled our sanctuary in our church, for example, and that one
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming. We talked about it for a long time. Then we had to have church in the gym for like a year, and then we moved into the
Mm-hmm.
new. And I still, it wasn't as bad as the unexpected stuff because I knew it was coming, but it still took me a long time to get rid of it. They redid our Walmart like almost a year ago now, and I still can't find
Mm-hmm.
anything in it because I just can't. It's a very, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, it's definitely a physical surroundings thing. Like if they
Mm-hmm.
reordered the service, like if they decided we were going to do something in a different order, that would I'd probably be like that's weird. But I don't think it would bother me like if they moved the piano, like they moved the piano once from one side of
Mm-hmm.
the, and that drove me crazy for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
it's definitely a. I don't know if it's because when you move something, then my brain has to like recategorize and organize and rewire how it thinks about the entire space that I'm seeing as input or what. But
That's interesting. Yeah. So, and for me, I don't have that grounding. When you're talking about spatial awareness, I don't have that kind of grounding because of dyscalculia. So to me, even if something has
interesting.
been in this, yeah, so like I might know exactly where I'm going when I'm driving and have been there a million times. And all I have to do is get distracted or question myself, and I will turn on the off the wrong way. So I don't have like that concreteness of that stuff. So like if something's moved or turned around, my awareness is always turned around. So that might be it. But I do know for me too is I've always been just kind of the go with the flow type of person too, even not with that concrete stuff. That's interesting. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it's
I'm
probably not
fine. I can
related,
get where
but
I'm going if I've been there before and I paid attention. That's the caveat
hmm
there. There's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
places that if I only go, even if I've been once or twice, but I don't go often and I'm not paying attention, or if I didn't drive it
Hmm.
myself, you can forget it. I got no idea. Thank goodness
Yeah.
I was born in
Well,
the
and
era of GPS.
right. Well, and I think that that's normal too. I mean, it's when you've been there several times or a lot of times, and you know how to
Got
get there, but for some reason my brain does this. Oh, but maybe you don't know how to get there. Maybe you really are supposed to turn. It's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating, and it's a dyscalculia thing, I think, or maybe
yeah.
it's a Kathy Fuller thing. I have no idea.
I did this wrong. Hey,
Uh-oh.
you'll be happy to know that for the most part, I can figure out where my bloom and crochet stitches are nowadays.
Yay.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was a long time coming. I still tend to put markers on the first and last stitches. Just, well, I didn't on that one. Hopefully I can find it when I get, but I'm doing
Well,
better overall with that.
yeah, that's a good idea. I think that comes from your knitting more than anything else, because um, well, at least for me, stitch markers are pretty what is it, optional? And
They're
I know
pretty optional in knitting most of the time.
are they? Okay. I
Yeah,
don't know enough about
I just
knitting.
like to use them. I just like to use them because they keep me from having to count so much.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because the stitches are well, I don't know how to count knitting stitches very well. I
there are
still
the
am,
things on the needle.
I
What's not?
know, no, I know how to do that. I guess they're right. They're on the needle. That was dumb. I don't mean that. I mean,
You're not dumb.
trying to figure out what a knit or a purl is when I'm counting the stitches, or trying to figure out how many rows I've done. If I don't use a row counter, I'm lost. If it's just, like the knit stitch, It's a lot easier, but when you start throwing pearls in there, or me trying to count a seed stitch, forget it. I get lost. I can't figure that out. But you look, what'd you do?
Then no, I think I made a mistake on the row below. I'm not exactly sure what I did
Hmm.
or failed to
Is
do.
that like an offset stitch?
I I think so, yeah.
An offset type of
I
stitch like
think
you're,
so, yeah.
yeah. I do struggle with those too, even with crochet.
Because like I definitely ended on the right stitch every time, but
Mm-hmm.
when I turn it, I can't see the thing I'm supposed to be. I don't see the thing I'm supposed to see. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, there. Actually, that looks better. Maybe I just did. Oh, yeah, I must have done something just wrong at that end there. That whatever. I pulled out the last few stitches and redid them, and now it's all fine. So,
Oh, good, good.
guess we're all right.
So this is where I'm at now, progress wise.
So you're
Use
just
my ball.
making a. You said like basically like a doodle, right? You're just sort of playing
Oh,
around
I think what I'm going to do is make a cow out of it.
out
So
of that.
this will be, yeah, so I'll just sew the ends together. So it'll be kind of like a cow that you could wear in warmer weather because it's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of,
like for in the spring. It's the springy colors
yeah,
anyway.
for the 5 minutes we have actual spring. I was just
Yeah, we skipped fall altogether
we,
this year. We
yeah,
went
it
from
was like that.
85 to 42, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that here as well. It seemed a little, I don't know, this year seemed weird because Thanksgiving was so late and then we were so warm um when I felt like we needed to be cold. But now we're cold. Well, cool. I don't know. Depends on what area of the country you're you're viewing us from.
Yep, that's for sure. Oh, it helps if you crochet in both of the stitches when it says to do that in two stitches.
It does help to do that.
If
That
you
way you
skip
don't.
a stitch, it does look funny.
Yeah.
There we go. But see, at least now I can figure that that's what I did. Definitely, my crochet skills have improved, are improving.
Yay. You're going to be way ahead of me.
I don't know
You'll
about
be
that.
making crazy, crazy, beautiful
I
things.
was
And
gonna, I'm doing the Hot Springs Fiber Company Advent, and I
me
had this
too.
great idea. I was like, I'm going to knit the Advent, and then I have an old Advent from 2018 that I just haven't ever really used. And I thought, I'll
Hmm.
crochet that. Yeah, I'm on crack. That is not happening. Not happening. For one thing, I have no idea what the crochet pattern is talking about. I read the first paragraph and went, I have no idea what that said. Then I read it again and went, I still don't know what that said, and picked up my knitting. Like, I did not
Are you
understand.
talking about what the Hot Springs fiber crochet pattern?
Uh-huh, that y'all got on the first. Um,
Yeah.
I just I was confused about what it's talking about, offsetting things and weaving in ends, and I don't know. The knit pattern was like, cast on, do this. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
And
maybe
the
I'll knit
crochet pattern
that.
was like a paragraph of discussion, and I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about. So there's that. And then
Yeah.
there's the whole thing where it's taking me every spare minute I have just to knit through the knit version. I do not have the time in my day to
Yeah.
keep up with the crochet at the same time. I mean, we are in school. I still have four kids in four grades. I have, I'm the bus because none of my kids drive yet. So I'm
Mm,
constantly having to stop and take somebody someplace and just not.
right.
I will I probably if I just sat down with some yarn and just, did it. I have a friend that used to tell
Mm-hmm.
me when I would ask why, she's like, Katie, I don't care if it tells you to go outside and do it under the tree. Just do what the pattern says and quit asking questions. So I probably just need to sit down and do it, and it will make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
for the
So
3 seconds that I thought I was going to do both, changed my
well,
mind.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. Just while you're talking, I'm listening. So it looks like just on first glance that it's going to be a cluster granny square.
So that's what you're doing. You're making squares.
Maybe I'm just glancing at it. I thought we were making squares. Maybe I'm wrong.
I might be. I that's what I read. It's like you do something with that actually, you saying you're making squares makes what I read make more sense. I think I just didn't realize
This
that's what
looks
we
like
were
a
doing with it.
square. Yes. So, okay. The pattern is progressive. Hey, y'all. So let's just do a little plug for this. Hot Springs Fiber Company has an advent calendar. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I just opened mine and I filmed it, and then I have to film it again. So because
Oops.
I really need to like set up my camera so I can actually like anyway, it didn't work out, y'all. So
Well, you
typically
can
you add
see it.
this
I've got Vlogmas going on my channel. You can go check it out.
yeah, sorry, did okay. Anyway, I'm trying to do three things at once. I'm not as talented as Katie, y'all. All right, so
Yes, she
I
is.
think what this is going to
At
be,
least
I think from at first glance again, is it's going to be a granny square type
that might be.
project, which will be very fun. On the first day, you will work the instructions below on your day one yarn, then you add the second color. Um, yeah,
That you saying that it's you're making granny squares made it make sense to me. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's where I was
And
confused.
when you were doing your hexagon blanket, weren't you doing cluster stitches,
Yes.
or
Hmm.
were you just yeah? So you've already done cluster stitches, so that's what
Yep.
that looks like. So,
Yep. Yep.
so yeah, I'm glad I could help. And if I'm wrong, sorry, y'all. Sorry about that.
We'll
Got you off
figure it out
track.
later.
Yeah. So what's going to be for the knit then that
We
you
are
can
making
show?
a shawl.
A shawl. Okay.
Yes. And so
Fun.
far I'm really enjoying it. All right, listen, guys, we have been hanging out for about an hour now, and I still need to eat dinner and film
Oh,
my Vlogmas for
yes.
today. So
Oh, wow.
I know this was a lot of fun, though. We're gonna
Yeah,
have to do this again.
we will. We will. We'll make this a regular thing. So, can I talk about the giveaway?
Yes. Oh, yes. I
Okay,
forgot about
so
it. You
um
got like 7 minutes.
yeah, so on you, we're gonna be doing a giveaway. However Katie wants to do it, and she'll pick a winner, she'll let me know, and then I will send you an autographed copy of this book
Oh
and
yeah.
a little crochet item that I made.
Awesome.
And yeah, so that's it. That's the giveaway.
Okay,
However you
excellent.
want them to enter.
You guys are going to enter by commenting on this video and liking it and subscribing to my channel. And but comment on this video. That's where I'll pick the winner from. And how about I pick the winner? Do you want me to do it sooner or later?
It doesn't matter, whenever it's convenient for you.
Okay, well what if I pick the winner on the Christmas Day Vlogmas, the last day of Vlogmas?
Perfect.
Would
Yep.
that be good? So I will pick
That'll be
the
good.
winner on and announce the winner. I will announce the winner on the last day of Vlogmas. Uh no, that won't work. Hold on, let me rethink that. No, that will work. I will announce the winner on the last day of Vlogmas. So I'll announce the winner on December 25th, but you will need to have commented before the 20th because I'm going to go out of town. And so I need some wiggle room in there.
Okay.
So you have to comment. I'm going to pick the winner on December 20th, but I am going to announce the winner on December 25th. Let's be like
There
they're
you
getting
go.
a Christmas present. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
And I promise you want to enter because you want to, I promise, read this book. I'm loving this book. And yes, this was way fun, Kathy. We're gonna absolutely have
Yes,
to do another Crazy Train bonusode again.
that's right. I like this. I like this free flowing. We're just chit-chatting
Yeah,
and
we're just hanging
doing yarny
out.
stuff. Yeah,
It's
really
great.
fun. Okay, I got to set this down so I can let you go. And thank you. Thanks everyone for watching and
Yes.
listening,
Do
and
you have so where
nice
are
to
you
meet
gonna
you.
put your videos? You said you were gonna have
I've
a
got a
video.
YouTube channel that I'm going to put them up, and I'm going to try to do that this week or next. So the thing this year I'm having, and I know we're running short on time, so I'll make it short, is that I'm in the
Got five
middle
minutes.
of working on edits, revisions for my next book, Enemy Bylines. I've got to get that done first before I do anything else. So once I get that done, I'll be able to take a breath, and then I'll be able to get the videos up, and because I do want to get my channel going, because I do want to do longer videos. Those 1 minute, 1.5 minute ones are just like there's not enough time, and I talk way too much to try to. It
Oh,
feels
you
weird
notice I
not to.
don't have a lot of shorts.
Yeah. Well, Well, and I don't want to, well, I need to learn how to edit. I don't have time to learn how to edit. So that's the other thing. It's like
It takes time
it,
for
yeah,
sure.
it does take time and I'm not technologically savvy. So I just need to like have things where I can just put it out there and it's going to be, easy for me. And then maybe in the future, if I can, find somebody who's willing to work on those with me, or I decide to take the plunge and do it. We'll see.
All right. I'll make sure that
Mhm.
I have a link to your YouTube channel in the description box down below.
Thank you.
And thank you all for hanging out with us. And we'll do this again. I don't know exactly when, but maybe, I don't know. Well, Kathy and I will talk about it and we'll get back to you.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
have a great night.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, so this is Editing Katie. I just wanted to let you know that as fast as I could, once I got off of the meeting with Kathleen, I went and finished my book. And this is probably my new favorite book, which I hate to say because I want Maple Falls to be my favorites because, there's not any knitting or crocheting in this book, but you guys really, I love this book. So definitely comment because you want to win this one. And if you don't get to win this one, then definitely go buy a copy of this book for yourself. It's on Audible as well if you like to listen to it. My new favorite book. Just wanted to share.